We've got 104,000 tons of salt now on hand. Okay. 180 is our max. So we're confident we got plenty of salt for the duration of the storm. Some areas have really got.
They actually help on our system work together to make sure some of those smaller municipalities move into agreements with the manufacturers to make a small enough quantity of manufacturing. 100,000 gallons out so far in advance of the storm. So is it right? 6.3 million gallons on that last week. That sounds correct. Yeah. Large effort to distribute 87,000 pounds of salt, 87,000 tons. That's 2,000 more. 87,000 tons of sand. That's incredible. We all count on it. Are we still at zero traffic fatalities with the weather over the weekend? In large measure, there are a lot of people who aren't living in sadness. I heard 3,000 all how many people look out of this facility? He doesn't drop me for one time. A lot of that is everything from mechanics. We're solvents in the area. We have folks that are working to change our blades. We also have tree crews that are really good on ice. We have the trees just trying to keep all operations. It's a big team, as well as a tremendous contractor presence that are helping keeping everything open. They've helped us put all the brine down that we've been able to get down so far. It's really, in the last few years, we've really upped what we can do in advance.
The contractors, Fort Myers, multiplier 2, like are there many contractors that are
always going to do?
Right now in our plowing operations, we're about 1 to 1. The difference is that the contractors bring us 2 operators per their truck so that they can operate every 12 hours, whereas at some point we have to step back and take a break. We watch the weather and pick the right time.
You guys sleep.
Absolutely.
Nice. Anything else we should be thinking about?
I think we're geared. We never geared down, so we're just remaining in gear.
Same with you guys. We'll do it all over again. Good. Where's Kate? Should you want to do a briefing?
Yeah, so if folks just want to head back over to where you were set up before, we're going to say a few words and then we'll take questions. All cameras good? All right.
Good afternoon. I'm here at a brine facility for the North Carolina Department of Transportation. These guys have been working for about a week and a half, almost nonstop. I just talked to a couple of the crew, 91 hours, 101 hours in the last week, and they are ready to go again because we're going to have weather this weekend. We'll have a fuller briefing tomorrow on the weather, but it looks like it's going to be snow, not ice this time. That's a good thing. But it's still going to have real impacts on our lives. So if you can stay home Friday night and bundle up, we recommend you doing it. These guys need to be on the roads, plowing, preparing before the storm with brine, then applying salt and sand to deal with it. And if you can stay off the roads, you're going to make their jobs a whole lot easier, a whole lot safer, and you will be safe as well. So we really encourage folks to stay home starting Friday night. Happy to take any questions.
What did you hear from the crews that you spoke to today that surprised you most?
Not that it surprised me because I know how dedicated state employees are, but these guys are dedicated. They are working their tails off. 90 hours last week, 100 hours last week, and they're ready to saddle up and do it again because they know that the state needs our road system, and they're the ones who are going to keep those roads safe and keep people. We don't believe we had any traffic fatalities last week because of the storm. In a state of 11 million people, that is remarkable. And it's a testament to their hard work to clear the roads. It's a testament to the Highway Patrol making sure that the roads were clear of abandoned vehicles and being on the roads. Testament to the National Guard. I saw a great video of them getting trucks out of median. These folks care deeply about their work and making sure that people are safe. And then finally, it's a testament to people staying home. And we're lucky that this is going to hit us on the weekend, so there will be less traffic. If you can stay home on Friday night, do it.
What's different about preparing for this compared to last week as far as, I guess, roads in particular, and just we're not expecting long-term power outages like we were a week ago?
Yeah. The main difference is we were expecting sleet and freezing rain last week. This week, we're expecting snow. That means that we think that there will be fewer power outages, or the risk of power outages are less. That doesn't mean that there will not be power outages. There certainly, almost surely will be power outages, but it won't be in the entirety of a region. It'll be in more specific locations. These guys are going to have to still work hard to clear the roads. It's going to be coming. It's going to be windy. They're going to be out there plowing. And for them, it's going to be very much the same. For us, we're hoping that power outages are a smaller part of the story.
Is supply impacted at all as far as road treatments because this is coming right after another storm?
No, that was a question I just asked them. Do they feel like they have enough salt? Do they have enough sand? And they feel very confident in the amount of supplies that they have.
Obviously, the kids have been out of school. They've had a couple of virtual days, and I know they're happy, but their parents aren't necessarily as excited. Are you guys anticipating that the districts will probably have some snow days, and will the parents have to do any wake-up days later in the year?
Yeah, I can't speak for the details of each school system's calendar, but I can tell you that we're very likely going to get hit by a lot of snow. It's going to be very cold next week, which means that it's going to stick around. I fully anticipate for families to be impacted for a few days. One good thing is we hope that this is snow and not ice. It's not sleet. It's not freezing rain. So use this as an opportunity to remind yourself how to sled.
The colder temperatures, obviously, that can, if it gets any colder, it could maybe nullify the effects of the brine that we always hear about, the impacts. I mean, what strategies are you hoping to hear from the folks here today about how they're going to combat the continuous cold weather?
Well, they're already applying brine today. They like to do it within 48 hours of the expected storm, which we think is going to be hitting Friday night. So they're going to be working really hard tomorrow. So to the extent folks don't need to drive tomorrow, don't drive tomorrow, so that these guys can do the prep work that they need to do. They're going to be immediately ready to bring their plows out come Friday night into Saturday. Yeah, in terms of the federal government. Yeah. Look, the federal government needs to operate. They need to have a budget. We need the support of FEMA to help recover in Western North Carolina. The public assistance reimbursements need to come through. The hazard mitigation programs that help us build resilience into our infrastructure for the next storm, that needs to come through. There's absolutely no reason why you cannot have basic accountability for ICE, not for Immigration Customs Enforcement, Border Patrol. They can wear body cams. They can have their name on their uniform. They do not have to wear masks. They can have relationships with state and local where they're informing them of what their actions are. These things are basic measures of accountability and good law enforcement. They can do those things and keep the government open. They need to keep the government open.
Governor, where are you guys more concerned about the effects of this storm coming into this weekend? Are there particular concerns along the coast as well?
Yeah, it is on the east side. The last storm came in from the west. This storm's coming in from the east. We expect to have greater concentrations of snow east rather than the mountains. It's kind of backwards from what most people expect. There is also concern about overwash from tides on the Outer Banks. And so people on the Outer Banks need to be aware and be careful. So these guys are spread out around the state. They know how to handle these kind of storms, and they're ready to help the people of North Carolina get through this.
Are you anticipating declaring another state of emergency going into this storm?
Yeah, in fact, right now I've just declared a state of emergency for this storm, separate from the one that we had last week. It helps us to mobilize our state emergency management team. It also helps prepare us in case we need federal assistance from FEMA down the road to have declared an emergency for this storm.
How have your communications been with the White House from last week's storm and going to this week's storm?
Last week, the White House and the administration was very responsive. I heard from the Coast Guard. I heard from the White House. They wanted to make sure that we had what we needed. I asked the president for a declaration of a storm declaration, and they granted it within a day. Very responsive. So I was pleased with that, and we hope that whatever needs we have of the federal government with this storm, they're equally as responsive.
One of the other questions you were asking down there in front of the Brian was about the capabilities for the state to allocate resources kind of locally as well. That was some of the concerns we heard from people out and about over the weekend. Just a lot of the major highways, NCDOT did a great job clearing, but a lot of the local side roads that people in front of their homes, they were still covered Sunday going into Monday. What message do you have to North Carolinians that they can safely get out and about after the storm on their local roads in their towns and cities across the state?
Well, these guys have to prioritize the interstates first, and then the major state roads second, and then they can get into the secondary roads later. And we wish after a big storm that it could be within 24 hours. That's just not the way the world works. So we ask people to be patient, to understand that it's better to not be on the roads if you possibly cannot be. If you have to be on the roads, give a lot of distance to the car in front of you. Go slower. We want people to be safe. We want them to get through, and we want them to get back to their normal life as quickly as they possibly can. But we have to be reasonable as well.
Do you anticipate requesting another federal emergency declaration?
We would have to request a separate federal emergency declaration for this storm. We don't know yet if we're going to need to do that.
Did you use it for this past one?
At this point, we're considering whether we need to expand it to cover more expenses that were incurred. So we got the declaration. That does not mean that we're going to get the funding request that we need. We will be looking at that in the coming days.
What are the gaps?
And what
So
sense?
you said you need to expand it to look at some other expenses.
Yeah. Will, why don't you come forward and explain what you were telling me earlier?
Yes, sir. So the declaration that we received last week for that event was in the federal terms it was not a major disaster declaration. It was an emergency declaration. And what that did, based on the governor's request, was give us access to federal resources if we would need them for that event. What the governor mentioned is we are going to look at, like some of the other states that were impacted by that significant ice event have done recently, do we need to take a look at an expansion of that request to potentially be able to support state and local governments that expended a significant amount of cost in the response phase? I think we're going to take a look at that over the next couple of days, and again, may have some movement there. I think we're going to continue to evaluate what may be needed for this particular event, and certainly make the appropriate recommendations up on any steps that could be taken.
Final question.
What role does the National Guard play in supporting the efforts of all these local entities?
They deploy all across the state to be responsive to whatever the needs are. For instance, there were some trucks that ran off the highway last week, and they brought their huge military trucks out to help pull them out. General Hunt, why don't you come forward and talk about the role of the National Guard?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. First, I want to thank the National Guardsmen who are out there, who left their homes of warmth and safety to support the citizens of North Carolina. But my main focus and our main mission is the protection of life and property of the citizens of North Carolina. And we do that with working with the Department of Transportation and the North Carolina Highway Patrol as a team. And we'll go as a group. And like the governor said, we pulled out multiple vehicles last week in the mountains that have very difficult terrain. We pulled vehicles out, trucks out, commercial vehicles with our equipment. So that's our major role, is partnering with our other two agencies here. Thank you.
I had a question.
I'm sorry. Oh, yes, sir. It's a statewide event last week, so we're just shuffling some resources around to the middle part of the state and the eastern part of the state right now as we talk.
I have a question for DOT. Once the storm actually gets here, how are the plows deployed out there? Will they be out while the snow is falling, or do you wait until the event is over for them to get out and clear the snow?
We'll start responding throughout the storm, kind of assessing, where the hot spots are and where we need to deploy resources. But we won't wait until all the snowflakes have fallen before we start responding to the storm.
Thank you.
My final comment is just, as folks out there are seeing these crews out there working hard, when they see law enforcement out in the community, when they see the National Guard deployed, just say words of thanks, because if we're lucky, we're at home where it's warm. These folks are out on the streets trying to make sure that everything is safe for us when we have to go out and about. And so we just owe them all a really big debt of gratitude. Thank you.